Greetings, one and all. The Gnome Avenger is here to announce a story so epic, so magnanimous, that you couldn't even read it if you tried. It can only be spoken out loud due to the awesomeness of the wording chosen. Now, before we begin, there are some scurrilous and scurpendous rumors about the Gnome Avenger. I will have it known that he scheduled his vacation weeks in advance, and just because certain other hosts do not pay attention to the schedule does not mean the Gnome Avenger has not earned his tea time. I don't want to call anyone else out by name, but anyone who might threaten cosmic disaster should at least be capable of achieving chaotic musings. This story is, turn note card over, oh yes, part 3 of What a To-Do, Gnome Avenger out.
Perfection cannot describe her beauty, don't you agree? Such an artificial word, perfect. I think it's rather stupid. How can something be wondrous if designed? No. Those civilized tendencies towards trimmings and enforced shapeliness distract from natural growth. Not that a little presentation is always wrong. Those wondrous curls the birds help naturally. They may be absolute empty-headed nincompoops, but they do understand making a scene. Oh, I could stare at her hair for hours. The loops, knots. In truth, I do detect an influence from the birds' nesting habits, don't you?
I do.
It's masterful, simply masterful. And the dress here, I deserve the credit. Notice how it shows off her stomach, shoulders, and legs. Why highlight only one feature when all will do? I was tempted to have her go bare-breasted, but she is rather top-heavy, and I vaguely recall it being some sort of taboo.
Yes, that is correct.
We must work with the audience available, not the one we want or deserve. So I even remembered to put on the mask. Wasn't sure how much was too much, so I went with the square approach. Covers everything but her eyes and smile. Frankly, that's all any red-blooded nobleman needs to fall in love with this paragon of passion.
Forgive me, what is that on her feet?
Shoes.
Yes, but I can see them. I can see her feet through the shoes.
Oh, that's the clever part.
Clever? But shoes hide feet, not show feet.
Cindy did such a good job getting the calluses and gunk off her toes and soles, so I said, all this work and no one's going to see it. Then an idea flew at me. Inspiration may be frightening, but I am true. What if someone could actually see the feet during a dance? Is that original?
Very, no disagreement here.
Then I realized I hadn't rented a carriage, so I made one.
Ah, so despite her appearance, she didn't walk 30 miles on glass.
No, I transformed a pumpkin into a carriage body, and then I grew the mice to be her steeds.
They became horses, right?
Well, that would hardly have created an impression.
Giant rats, outside, and a wild woman in. Hubris. That's what's happening. I'm being punished for my hubris.
Did something go wrong?
The Queen will have me banished. I overplayed my hand. No, stop being ridiculous, man. She'll have me assassinated. Why risk a return visit?
What's the problem, Rupert?
Your princess looks like a madwoman.
It's a choice.
Lord, the guards are moving towards her.
They won't force her to leave.
Of course they will. She appears as if she broke in and is followed by massive rats and... Wait. Have it.
Now you see the brilliance of my actions.
No. I'm still in a panic, but I've got an idea. Not long ago, a nearby inbred royal bedwarmer had a christening for his daughter. And he invited spirits and fairies from all over, but left one out in particular.
Ah, yes, Susa. She was inconsolable. I had to hold her hand. She cried all over my dress.
She cursed the entire kingdom and the helpless baby.
They started it.
My point being, everyone is currently aware of what happens when a fairy is insulted. So if you were to appear and demand, something...
A dance from each of the noble families.
Perfect. This would create enough of a distraction to help poor Ella, and then we can plan again for tomorrow.
Rupert, am I hearing correctly that in order to save my precious, darling, beautiful goddaughter, I must dance?
Yes?
Rupert, in all my days, you are the first mortal, magician, or knave to truly understand me. I must go. The floor awaits.
Very good, but as hard as it may be, please don't upstage your precious Ella.
Who?
Cindy!
Oh, no one could. She's magnificent. Mortals, I am Moragash, Tempest Valentine of the Wilds and Winds. This gathering has caught my fancy. I demand a dance from the eldest of your precious families. The music will be done by my personal retinue. Have you never seen crickets become humanish before? Plebeians, the entire lot of you. Conductor, begin. It had occurred to me, in the back of my mind as I fussed over dear Cinderella, that maybe I let my tastes run into an extreme. But frankly, why should the limited palette of the human eye hamper my brilliance? The girl was grateful, if nervous. I'd put her at ease, telling her the court had fanciful, even decadent taste. She'd hardly stand out, except for her beautiful smile. Cindy didn't quite believe me, but when all your hopes are on the line, brave souls, jump. Shame. Now as I look over the crowd at a measly 12 feet, it occurs to me Rupert may have had a point. This collection of costumed primates favour a world without wrinkles. Statues. That's what they are, or at least what they aspire to be. Lovely, useless statues. Creatures of sight, not sense. What a wasted instinct on beings who can feel so deeply that it bounds through time. Though, as a formless entity whose appearance can be conjured, mayhap I judge too harshly. Or not harshly enough. Let's see how the dancing goes. We cannot start our kinetic delights with the royal family. Instead, I cast my tiger-soaked eyes towards a dovish little man hiding behind a red-stained tablecloth. Is that blood? No, judging by the smell, probably punch. I hold out my claw. Cretin, I will have you for the first waltz. I sense potential. Truly, toadish little men are either inept or astounding, nothing betwixt. The sweat dripped off his forehead, dabbed away by an embroidered cloth and practised ease. But of course, inept, but sweet. He tried to make small talk. So, do you enjoy spells? Next in line was a duchess. She marched forward as if to battle, and I considered kidnapping the spirited mother. Her mask had fire and brimstone, while her dress cut a figure so scandalous I could only thank my good fortune. At this height, looking down upon her face showed everything sweet and delightful. Nothing compares to dancing, exchanging steps and bobs with one soul after another. As a proud glutton, once I step into these delights, nothing will stop my appetites but exhaustion. The poor musicians, they continued playing and playing and playing and...
Playing with dangerous magics, wicked kings, fickle queens, and unstable fairies all have their own particular hazards. But, as we all know, no diviner or prophet can accurately predict love. Certainly not I. I'd simply been hoping for lust. With enough of that, we could get the pair of them through the chapel door and into a honeymoon. But now, that seemed unlikely, considering the lady in question looked like a drunken rabbit who stumbled into a spare wardrobe. Still, at least she caught the prince's eye. Everyone else's attention had drifted towards the dancing troll at the center of the ball, but I had ways of keeping the prince focused. If I were to play Cupid, The young lovers must be blinded to the chaos, inhabitants of their own private world. It's a fairly simple enchantment. As Madlyn took on her form, I blew a handful of dust into the young lovers' eyes. Not directly, that would be ridiculous. Instead, I had the wind carry the fine powder into their faces. Now, they would be ignorant of the most exciting thing to happen to the castle for nigh on many minutes. My intention was to guide the pair to love. I'd whisper in their ears, pointing out any physical advantages or clever witticisms or, frankly, anything that might help them along. But there was no chance at all. For one person would not be fooled by such a spectacle, and that was our favourite wicked stepmother. Her daughters cracked their necks to watch the majestic waltzing giant, but she knew immediately that her unseen enemy had struck. The woman possessed a frozen beauty. Paradoxically, I found in the elegant madams of court, those who possess this icy exterior, it is not due to a lack of passion, not in the least. Whether it be fury or desire or boundless kindness, that expression of marble comes from practice. Their painted stone faces dungeons containing the most profound degeneracy, or it tyrannizes the sweetest impulses. Unfortunately for me, our beautiful lady fell strictly into the former category. Without hesitation, Stepmommy moved towards Ella, who had managed to catch the prince's attention and earn a smile. Our cinder seeker found a parrot and began singing with the idiot. The bird's the idiot, not the prince. For Polly did join off-key. Lady Valerie broke off a piece of some very fine ice sculpture and with an elegant twist of her even finer pale fingers fashioned a dagger. I saw her painted, perpetually pouting lips press together and mutter, "Ella." Recognition. Not good. Without time to debate the matter, I removed an apple from my pocket and sent it rolling towards the woman scorned. In my hand, the fruit possessed very mediocre qualifications, was hardly worthy of a pie. But once it hit ground and began its odyssey, the tempter of Eve became all the finer. A golden skin grew covering the prize, beautiful, unique, a wondrous enchantment that battered the senses of greedy minds. I like to call this trick Atlanta's dowry. And the greater one possessed ambition, the harder the jeweled apple became to resist. Lady Valerie saw the glistening fortune, and without hesitation diverted from her path. My noble trick leapt, darted, rolled under tables, and scurried between lovers. The faster she ran, the further it got. Froth began to collect at the edges of her mouth. A less worthy adversary would be trapped, following this lure until the sun rose. But she was not anything but exceptional. It became clear within the first 10 minutes keeping the apple from her grasp would take everything I had. Within a half hour I realized my skills were not nearly adequate enough. Lady Valerie had gained back enough of her wits to realize the spell work, but instead of struggling, therefore drawing the web tighter, she let the current take her, slowly, so that she could look about to find who manipulated the event. I was in a corner. I could not remain hidden and use the utmost of my talents, so she finally threw herself forward, grasping the weighted fortune in her claws, and she pocketed it before turning towards me. Now do not fear. I had enough confidence in my skills to not panic. Instead, I watched Madlyn as she dipped the eldest son of the Earl of Conrover. But Lady Valerie prowled now, looking at each of us, we members of a crowd. Within seconds, her breath burned the back of my ears. She hovered for a moment before continuing on, offering me another opportunity. But I held. Instinct honed by training keeps one alive. In the very moment I had thought to strike, she turned more quickly than a viper, the dagger of ice in hand. But having not drawn me out, she sneered, then smiled, then pressed the knife to her lips and kissed the weapon. It shuddered and floated above her now open palm. The blade hungered to please, wished to shed the blood of poor Ella, and it darted forward, so I was forced to bring my walking stick down, shattering the ice. Without wasting time, Valerie clawed at my frame. I rolled aside, but now she was the hunter. Spells of fury broke the pavement about me. The guests, enraptured by my ally, did nothing to help. "Where are you going, little man?" She did not wait for an answer, but as a man of chivalry, I could not bear to leave the question hanging. "'Tis a lovely night for a riverside stroll." It was a desperate move, but water always helped me, for I could hide amongst the lilies. Still, it called for a bit of dexterity. Her curses were not the mild amusements I'd set this evening. They were life-twisting, bone-breaking, mind-shattering, the smell of sulphur and damnation with each hurled breath. Took far too long arriving at the bank. The river here flowed gently due to cosmetic engineering, but it would do. I shrank, falling 100 miles, until I was at a point I could sleep comfortably in a pea-pod. Her anger was no longer hidden. I saw the leafy green neighbours about me wither into ash, sinking into the pool. I leapt unnoticed from one lily to the other, and now here I could at least fight back a little. Mist allows for illusions, and so, at my insistence, she battered away ghouls and bats. None but we could see. Time went on, and as much as I hate to say it, endurance in anything other than a lady's arms is not my forte. The magic slipped from my fingers. My former hiding places now sank broken testaments to her pestilence. And it should be noted that no matter what my cynical tone might imply, death frightens me. The boundlessness, the vast sea of mystery of which the answer could be nothing. And what a nothing, for it would encompass all, except for a time, my friends' memories. Friends who are destined for the same emptiness. As I leapt, bells sounded, and while cheerful and light and full of joy, no funeral chime is ever warmly greeted, except when they herald forces who do not fear death. The spell stopped as Madlyn flew across the water. Cerulean butterfly wings and a moss-green dress had replaced the ogreish form I'd left her in. Lady Valerie instinctively knew that the game had changed, so she ran, her heels tapping onto the stone. I took the moment to relish some air.
Rupert, Rupelicious.
Frankly, that's closer to my actual name than one would imagine.
There you are. Whatever happened?
Well, funny story, your wicked stepmother is an accomplished sorceress.
Oh, of course. Didn't I mention that?
It must have been lost in translation. My lady, how goes the courtship?
Wonderful. The two are halfway in love already. I'm so furious with myself. So, if I know anything about humans...
Good question, of whose answer I am very severely in doubt.
A man likes a woman who offers a challenge.
The prince is extraordinarily lazy.
Oh, and it was going so well. But I told her if she didn't go home by midnight, she'd die a bloody death.
Why would you tell her that?
So she wouldn't be tempted to stay the night. I know it goes through a young girl's mind in a masquerade.
That is completely correct. A little off, but fundamentally right. But she is coming back tomorrow.
Of course. And we protect them now that they've met.
Does he seem very much in love?
He's currently staring out into the darkness, holding a glove she left behind.
That's good. But it would not do to have a proposal at a mask. She'll need a formal introduction. And now that I think on it, you are right, Madlyn.
Of course.
Jasper does love an adventure. Here's what I want you to do. I need pitch. Sticky black pitch. The two of us are going to lay a trap.
Hiya, I'm LJ.
And I'm Lane McLeod Jackson.
You're a troll.
What? I thought it was funny.
We're here to let you know you can also find us on Substack under
Paperback Productions.
Yep, this podcast and other goodies will be delivered right to your inbox if you subscribe.
So please support us.
Emotionally.
Financially.
Dramatically. See, I can be funny too.
Try to be professional, okay, babe? Thank you all for your support.